This is the New American Media. Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Agree to Disagree here on the TNAM Radio Network. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Brian Engelman. And by the way, for quality assurance purposes, this radio transmission will be recorded by the NSA for quality assurance purposes. Welcome, everybody. Syria, Syria, Syria. Yes, it's all Syria all the time. Have you seen Wag the Dog? Have you seen the movie Wag the Dog? Wag the Dog, Wag the Dog. If not, go get it. Get it on demand, buy it. I don't care what you have to do. Pull it out if you own it. Grab the DVD, watch it. Jeez, I think when that came out in the 90s. I have it on VHS, I think. I think I have it on both VHS and DVD. I don't have it in that holographic implanted chip where I can just press a button, like tug on my ear and launch it out of my eyeballs and watch it on the flat screen in front of me. But, you know, when man melds with machine, I'll probably have that version of it too. But you should watch it. You should watch it. Libya. Have you ever heard this much about Libya? Have you heard this much about Syria? Ever? Just like they invent the war to distract from some scandals. That's the premise of the movie. The president is going through some scandals, and so they invent a war. They fake a war. The Albanians. And there is no B-3 bomber. B-3 bomber? Yes, the B-3 bomber. We need to distract them for 2 weeks till the election. General Scott, the best of your knowledge, is not in Seattle to talk with Boeing. But there isn't a B-3 bomber. So now it's Syria. Oh yeah, and they're probably going to deploy B-2 bombers. Anyway, it's pretty ridiculous. Really quick, if you have not checked out our homepage, do so, thenewamericanmedia.com. If you have not followed us on Twitter, log into Twitter, make sure you're there. We're at American_media_. Connect with us there. Facebook, search The New American Media, spaces in between. Like the page, share it, join the conversation. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The New American Media. So let's just get into Syria. We're going to talk about all this stuff. False flag alert galore. We're going to bring in Blake Walley, radio host, researcher, cattle rancher.
Hello.
Hey, Blake, welcome to the program. You're live. I just called you what'd I say? A radio host, a researcher, a cattle rancher. You know, 2 of those things were correct.
A couple of one of them's definitely incorrect. But that's all good.
Yeah. I didn't think you had a radio show over on Freedomizer Radio Network, Freedomizer.com. Go to Freedomizer.com. Wait, Freedomizer Radio. Wait, hold on. Now I'm messing it up. Tell everybody where they can find you. Now I'm all thinking about cattle ranching.
All good. FreedomizerRadio.com. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 12 to 1:30 Pacific time. You can also go to Blog Talk Radio and search the archives by searching probably eccentric as the keyword and searching the date. Or by going to iTunes. Of course, easiest place of all. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, check it out by going to iTunes and searching for Eccentric Perspective.
Yeah, and I've been a regular co-host with you over there, and you're a regular co-host with me over here. Good times. I kind of led the show talking about Wag the Dog. I believe you've admitted that you haven't seen it in a fortnight. Yeah, it's probably been a decade and a half or something since you've seen it. But really, it's...
Yeah, but I just posted the trailer from YouTube the other day on my Twitter feed.
Nice.
That's always helpful.
I said I'm gonna have to bring the movie out and watch it again because really this is during time of crisis, low approval ratings for the president in the middle of a big scandal, so they have to distract the general public. And people are warning now: is this a false flag? Is this a manufactured war? Are we covertly trying to stir it up? You know, that's kind of what a false flag is. Make it look like something on the surface. Of course, maybe you might be doing it yourself or different factions. You heard it with the Bush administration and 9/11 all the time, but for some reason it's taboo to talk about now because it's a Democrat in office, and that's garbage. should always talk about this stuff. So, you know, I started with Wag the Dog. We're going down the crazy train, just kind of covering things that maybe some of the regular voices out there are not going to give you these stories. But I did hear Rush Limbaugh starting to posit and question, you know, is it possible that the Syrian rebels did this on their own while you know, the inspectors were in town, so that they could be blamed on Assad, so it could help their cause and help the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda and everybody else assume power of this country. So anyway, let's just stick with crazy. What's the latest that you have, the wacky stories you're hearing, whether it's, you know, unsubstantiated or unconfirmed? We talked a little bit about something with, this would be Lindsey Graham, one of your favorite people, right?
Oh, definitely. I think you're one of everyone's favorite, Miss South Carolina. Yeah. To borrow a term from Wayne Madsen. Sorry, I was just looking up Wag the Dog on Netflix. It is not available instantly, but perhaps I will put it on my queue and I can refresh myself. But yeah, it's basically just setting up a phony little war to cause a distraction because of all the current scandals going on. And in that case, it was kind of a play on Bill Clinton, kind of, I think.
Yeah.
For the little sex scandal. But, yeah, basically, and they get a little Hollywood production crew together and make up a phony war.
Well, what distraction? You know, I get it. I get it. I'm going to be uber sarcastic here. But Blake, I mean, I understand that movie came out right around the same time the Monica Lewinsky scandal happened, and then the president fired a few cruise missiles into an empty building. I mean, but in 2013, it's not like this president is going through any scandals, is he? No,
I think they're called faux scandals.
Phony, yes,
scandals,
phony
with you know, with air quotes or with real quotes. Yeah, they're not really scandals.
And just to remind our less informed viewers, maybe the ones who listeners who check us out for the sports, and they're like, what's this agree to disagree program about? All right, well, we're about to tell you. Recap for everybody what scandals they haven't caught wind of all that much if they watch ABC, NBC, CBS, or MSNBC, and CNN, and they're not really aware. Can you tick off a few of the things that the president has been screwing up lately?
Well, they're all fake, first of all. It's all it's a big GOP conspiracy, first of all. But if we really wanted to go over all the alleged scandals, air quotes, we could talk about the NSA. We could talk about the media and the way they've gone after the AP, as well as James Rosen. We could talk about the I.R.S. scandal and Lois Lerner pleading the fifth, and the two rogue agents in the Cincinnati office. That were supposedly the sole people doing it. We could talk about Fast and Furious, running guns to Mexico, then giving executive privilege to Eric Holder so they wouldn't have to release all the documents. What else do we have here? There's so many that I lose track of all. There's some Benghazi.
Yeah, there was somebody Mr. Ghazi. I don't know who's Mr. Ghazi. What's his name? Ben?
Yeah, 4 Americans that there was a stand down order. They blamed a YouTube video, even though it wasn't a YouTube video, and they've still been stonewalling the investigation, and we're almost a year out from the incident, and we still don't have any answers yet. Of course, they were changing people's names and making them sign non-disclosure agreement. All the survivors. Let's see, what else? What other scandals do we have going on?
Well, I mean, from day one, you were hearing that Benghazi may have been a Fast and Furious for the Middle East, to pull weapons out of Libya to transfer them through Turkey to get them into Syria. I'd heard that many times from
and it makes you wonder,
sources.
Since they overthrew Gaddafi and then took his weapons stockpile, and then what did they do with that? And then, of course, you might think, well, what about the Syria thing? What if they overthrow Assad? Then who's going to get their hands on all of his little goodies and weapon caches?
Okay, well, I don't know. Let's talk about missing weapons, shall we?
Should we talk? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, there was getting back to the headline story with Miss South Carolina here. Yes, quite the bombshell development. Now, this is being broken by InfoWars through one of their high-level sources, but they are working. There's Alex Jones and Anthony Gucciardi. And, yeah, there is supposedly some weapons that were transferred from Dias Air Force Base. Let's see if I can get my computer to cooperate here. Perhaps, maybe. Well, looks like I'm having a little freeze on my computer here.
Oh yeah, that's the time. That's a good time to say hello to NSA. Hello, everybody.
NSA.
Thanks for listening. You know, I wonder if they work in shifts,
right,
and it's like hey, when they go live, you're in charge of listening to this program. I wonder if that's how it works. Like when you've been put on a target list. Like if we have a regular, like if it's Susan sitting over there, like Susan over in Utah in like that big data center. Actually, aren't they doing a big thing at what is it, North Carolina or South Carolina? Aren't they doing University of South Carolina where the college is making an NSA spy center, kind of teaming up with the state university? Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, what? No, you are correct, and I can't remember which Carolina it was, and it might
I think
have
it was
been,
South.
Yeah, you could be right there. I'm not.
Well, I'm just
sure.
wondering if the same person usually listens to our program to kind of keep their eyes on us. But anyway,
Yeah, maybe they could tell us if they would just communicate back.
If we
could join the program.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have joined the program. My question would be, if they wanted to communicate back, would it be Morse code, or would you hear somebody say, "Yes, it is South Carolina"? Whoa, where'd that come from? What? Hold on. What? My name is Jim. I mean, wouldn't that be something? Anyway, back to the story.
All right, so Senator Lindsey Graham warns of a nuke.
Whoop, hold on. Right on cue. Right on cue. Love it. No, I will admit that this one was user error. No, I will have to admit, Blake, that this was user error, not NSA shenanigans. But you were saying Senator Lindsey Graham, I think is where you had it.
So Senator Lindsey Graham has warned South, is it Carolinians or Carolinians? I think it's Carolinians. Carolinians about the threat of a terrorist nuclear attack on the same day of an exclusive high-level military intel revealed that nuclear warheads were being shipped to South Carolina from a major Texas Air Force base under a, quote, off-the-record black ops transfer. Excellent.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, found in this CBS report entitled "Graham Nukes in the Hands of Terror." Nukes in the hands of terrorists could result in bomb coming to Charleston Harbor. Now, the report details Graham's warning that a lack of military action in Syria could result in a nuclear bombing in Charleston, South Carolina. Right. And it just happened to be the very destination of the Black Ops nuclear transfer. So let's just get into this quote here from Lindsey Graham. And this report says, actually, is this? I'm going to make sure that this is Lindsey Graham's quote. Yes, he is. He says, if there is no U.S. response to Syria, Iran will not believe America's resolve to block Iran from developing nuclear weapons. So Graham also says that those nuclear weapons in the hands of terrorists could result in a bomb coming to Charleston Harbor. So Graham is quite literally saying that if we do not launch a war with Syria, South Carolina may be nuked. And this ultimately reeks of yet another false flag being orchestrated by the U.S. government in order to send us into war, or at the very least, a threat. Except this time, we're talking about nuclear weapons. And amazingly, we were the first to get this intel. This is out of InfoWars. So, yeah. Right.
That's how dire this is, Blake. That's how dire this is. I need to pretend this is like an old-timey radio show, and I really need to explain and articulate and really emphasize just how dangerous it would be if we didn't show Iran we were serious. Y'all could see a nuclear bomb blast over here in South Carolina.
Right. So, I mean, I don't really know, because, I mean, these aren't, I have a reason to believe that they have a trusted source, and there's been, I wouldn't think that they would make something like this up. And then when you have Lindsey Graham even sort of admitting this, and he's admitted this stuff before. I mean, he's not, well, I'll give you an example, like the drone program. We didn't really know it was a secret drone program, how many people were killed, and he actually admitted, like accidentally, that it was like 4,500 some people that had been killed by drones. So it wouldn't be the first time that Graham has potentially leaked some information maybe he wasn't supposed to. But, yeah, pretty crazy development. So would they be... Now, this is, of course, September 6th. And, of course, we're watching as the Syria war. This is an unprecedented type of thing that's happening, because for the first time we don't have support for this war, and people are questioning it. So what are they going to do next? Now, this has been also announced as kind of the turning point, and perhaps the corrupt establishment is now on the run. Now they don't know what to do because they no longer control the narrative. They no longer have any credibility. Nobody believes them. Nobody's supporting them for this war. We've got basically a lame duck president who looks pretty foolish out there trying to drum up support for a war, and they don't have any proof of any of these alleged chemical weapons attacks. So, I mean, would this be the next logical steps? A lot of people have been saying they must be getting ready to do another false flag to get everybody behind them. Now, certainly, if they were able to pull off a nuclear attack in the harbor of Carolina, like if we didn't know that any of this information happened, and a nuke just did go off, and they, of course, blamed Al-Qaeda for it, and then they could say, hey, and this is why we need the NSA. This is why we, they could make up any story they want, and people would go, oh, my God, we have to unify around our dear leaders and Lindsey Graham and Obama and do whatever they say, give up all of our rights, and, for this war on terror here. So would I put it past these people, and as desperate as they are, because these are the kind of people that could be looking at war crimes or even worse once the pendulum swings here.
What's worse than a war crime? Your own show on MSNBC?
Yeah.
How does it get worse than war crimes? No, let me jump over here for just a second, because this is John McCain at a town hall. I just kind of want you to hear this one.
I'm opposed to having a single American boot on the ground in Syria. And
are you really the statesman that we need?
It's not true. You are lying.
You cannot shut me up here like you did in Syria. This is the United States.
It's bigger than that. America did not run out of options. We have so many options, Senator. The Syrian people should get involved. The Syrian people in this country should be involved in this decision. You need to meet more of us to come with a solution.
How much is the life of American service?
And this guy right here, this is the one I definitely wanted to reference. This guy, I'll just let it play.
Of American servicemen worth. To me, it's worth a whole lot more.
Sir,
than the
there's no contemplation of putting a single American serviceman or woman in danger.
You can say that now.
Not. I'm telling you there's not.
I know, but
I'm telling you there's not, sir. So that is not an argument we can have. It's not going to happen.
For this,
it's worth a whole
one
lot
more time
more
on this one.
Sure, there's no contemplation.
Because he cuts him off so many times. You just keep ramming through this philosophy.
You know, putting a single American serviceman or woman in danger.
You can say that now.
Not. I'm telling you there's not.
I know, but
I'm telling you there's not, sir. So that is not an argument we can have. It's not going to happen.
No, we are going to have that argument because these military operations never go as they planned, and you can say this now. And how in the hell could somebody, Blake, possibly? If I say this, I'm going to. What would be comparable? I'm going to take my shotgun. This is all theoretical or hypothetical, if you will. Hypothetical. I'm going to go take my shotgun and I'm going to go shoot into every room of my neighbor's house. You know, someone a few houses down. Syria is a few houses down from the U.S. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to shoot into every room, just a bunch of stuff. and then I'm going to come back here. But I guarantee you, once I get back here, I'm never going to have a confrontation with those people again. All I did was shoot shotgun shells into their domicile, but I guarantee you I will never have to deal with those people again. This whole no boots on the ground says who? This is step one of war. You open that can of worms, you could have dominoes that click onto each other in ways we might not even understand right now, and we're in the middle of World War III. Oh, but I believe there were not going to be boots on the ground, boots on the ground, boots on the ground, because that's the line that they wanted us to use. It was an opinion poll tested, and all the pundits said that if I said no boots on the ground, people would believe us. Blake, am I crazy? Like this guy that's being shot down here?
No, I mean, this is, it's kind of maybe with that analogy you're talking about, if we just decided today we're just going to start, lobbing cruise missiles over at certain targets, and then maybe they'll find their destination, maybe they won't. I don't know what they're trying to hit, because they can't really hit the chemical weapon facilities, because that could set off the chemical weapons, but you don't know what kind of collateral damage you're going to cause. You don't know how many people are going to get killed. And speaking of Lindsey Graham, I mean, I talked about, you're talking about killing about 50 to 1 people for those drones, innocent people. Those aren't exactly that accurate. So why are they going to fire missiles into a place? They don't know what's going to happen. It could cause Syria to retaliate. They might just start, launching missiles at Israel. And then, Israel starts launching missiles. The next thing you know, we're into World War III. All for what? And then we are going to have boots on the ground at some point. We're going to be forced into it. So who knows? So it's really you can't believe any of these people when they say that. They have to do some intervention. They have to start blowing some stuff up, and then they can guarantee. How can they give us a guarantee that there's not going to be boots on the ground, or that this isn't going to bring us into a wider war? So that is very disturbing. This is why. This is the turning point. With this establishment, with Washington, with the media, the credibility here. I mean, we're seeing some unprecedented times. What's that?
No, I was just saying, but I don't know why people have a problem believing. I'm being sarcastic again. I just can't help it. I can't even start the premise. But why wouldn't we trust politicians when they tell us there's not going to be any boots on the ground?
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again.
No boots on the ground.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
There will be no boots on the ground.
Miss Lewinsky, I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
That's even funnier. Watching it again, and he's talking about Wag the Dog. He's wagging his finger, and I've got to go back to work for the American people. Will you get out of my way? I've never lied. Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So, but I mean, this is that point where people are really turning against these establishment politicians. They're tired of it. And they're tired of all the scandals. And once all this stuff all starts to unravel, they could be looking at, they could be just like Clinton under fire, used under for impeachment or whatever. But I mean, you're talking about stuff that's even more serious than that, and just been lying to the people. And the sleeping giant of America is waking up and getting upset, and now they're trying to start a war. All of a sudden, we have some chemical weapon going off, and immediately we blame the Assad regime, even though there's zero proof that he actually did this. And we're also siding with Al-Qaeda affiliated rebels. I mean, this is just, we've totally, we've just, I don't know how to, the magnitude of this is just amazing that we've gotten to this level. Like, what happened to our country? How did we get here? Why are we in this mess? How did we accept all these, lying, corrupt people to get in charge of us like this? And McCain is, one of the worst. Clinton was one of the worst. But I mean, it's just, it's big, and it's getting to that breaking point. And I think the pendulum is going to come a swinging, and people aren't going to put up with this stuff anymore. And of course, you saw the angry response there at the town hall. People aren't having it.
Well, I mean, this is probably a brand new thing under the Obama administration. It must have never happened
Raise
before.
taxes and I'll say no, and they'll push and I'll say no, and they'll push again and I'll say to them, read my lips. No new taxes.
And you can take that to the bank, Blake.
Right.
Take it to the bank. No boots on the ground. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So the Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda. These are the bad guys. These are the bad guys. And it's a strange world when you actually have to pay more attention to Vladimir Putin dealing with Edward Snowden. And
we shouldn't have. The only reason he's in Russia is because the United States government said, they canceled his passport while he was in the Russian airport, and they made him Russia's problem. Then they get, upset at Snowden for why would he want to stay in Russia? Well, they didn't want him. It's not like they tried to keep him. You canceled his passport. Where are you going to go? It doesn't matter what city you go to, what country you go to. If you're there and all of a sudden somebody decides to cancel your passport, you can't go anywhere else. You're stuck there. And we blame them for that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. And you have Putin, he's saying, show me the proof. Where's the proof? Let me see. Let's see it. Let's wait for the UN report.
Oh, yeah. No, it's amazing. He even called John Kerry a liar, and guess what? And of course, John Kerry said it was undeniable. And where is it? Let's see the proof. And I put a few people under fire today over on Twitter, including the editor of Think Progress publication, and as well as Eric Bullard out of White House-run Media Matters for those exact same questions. This guy, Igor Volsky, who is the senior editor at Think Progress, and I immediately tweeted. I was on the Twitter feed, and I saw their stuff. Within minutes, responded to them about this. Now, Igor Volsky from the very progressive Think Progress says, degrading Assad's capacity to deliver chemical weapons will degrade his military ability and will convince Assad that he can't kill to victory. So within minutes, I wrote, that, of course, is assuming he did it. Have we actually seen any of this undeniable proof? No response. So next he writes another tweet. He goes, there are lines in this world that cannot be crossed and limits that must be enforced. So immediately I wrote, well, shouldn't we let the investigators finish their job before we jump to conclusions that could get us into World War III? Nope. This is an editor at a progressive paper who's paid to be in the media and all this stuff, and Zippo response. He was saying if there's proof, he would just be like, duh, here we've got like article after article, and here's video after video, nothing. So then I go to Eric Bullard, who writes, maybe this had been, wait, let's see here, that's my quote. He writes, the GOP is celebrating the fact that it's allowing Obama to avoid unpopular bombing and also setting a precedent for opposing most interventions. And then I say, well, hey, maybe this administration could just show them the undeniable proof that Assad actually used chemical weapons. Is that too much to ask? And, of course, I get no answer. So, I mean, these are some of your top people that blindly defend Obama no matter what. And all I'm asking is a simple question. Show us the proof. I mean, you could get support for this Assad war, and Brian, we've been over this a couple of times. Like I've said it already, I'll say it again real quick. If Assad really was the horrible monster that turned out to be, and he did use these chemical weapons, and the people were oppressed and under this ruthless dictator, and the rebels were actually good people, I could say yes. Let's go in there. Let's go in there and take him out. Boom, in and out, quick mission. America, the America that I used to know and love, and then we liberate the people, they love us, and we leave. And then we just took out a terrible dictator that was using chemical weapons. But this isn't the case. This all reeks of false flag. You've had Pat Buchanan come out and say it. You've had Ron Paul came out and said it. You've got even Ted Cruz and another congressman saying, we're not going to be Al-Qaeda's Air Force. I mean, the jig is up. People know that you're supporting Al-Qaeda, and there's no proof that Assad did this. They're trying to get into war, and this is dangerous because not only are you getting in for the wrong reasons, you could be upsetting Russia, you could get Israel involved, China involved, Iran involved. I mean, this could be a huge thing. So this is beyond, wag the dog over a little sex scandal. This is just unprecedented. But the good news is that no one's buying it this time. So I don't know if they would be, stupid enough to try to do another false flag type of attack to get the country distracted again, as in this nuclear weapon going to South Carolina. But these people are dangerous and they're desperate because what happens? What happens when the whole world wakes up and goes, wait a second, you're making up a big story about Assad using chemical weapons to get us into World War III. To distract from a bunch of scandals. I mean, the people are going to rise up and take over this power structure. There's going to be another type of Nuremberg going down. So would they pull off something desperate? I wouldn't pull it past them. So, I mean, we all have to be on alert for this stuff, especially with September 11th coming up. And we know it happened last year with the Benghazi thing that we still don't have resolved. And sorry, I've been ranting, Brian. There's been a lot of points, but go ahead.
No, keep going. I mean, because a lot of what I'm hearing, a lot of what this is about Iran. If it's not total wag the dog, distract away from the NSA, the fact that I believe the clear violations of the Fourth Amendment, protections against illegal and unreasonable searches and seizures. Nixon wiretapped 2 rooms and was impeached. This president's wiretapped the globe and he's still in charge of the military. I think it's impeachable what he's done with the NSA, and I think Snowden is absolutely a hero because of it. Now, is Syria just a distraction against what I believe is an impeachable offense with what the NSA has been doing under his watch? Maybe. However, the CIA recently came out and said that they were involved with the overthrow in Iran. Was it back in 1953? The CIA just came out a couple weeks ago admitting that there is Area 51. Like we do things in very covert ways, very hidden, very surreptitious ways, and there's a long-term game plan. I was in an event out in California with Henry Waxman, and they talked about net neutrality will be the culmination of our 100-year progressive plan. Huh, wow. So the people in charge and these ruling oligarchs, they plan this out with Bush Sr. to Bush Jr. to maybe a Jeb Bush to maybe a little Junior baby Bush. Hey, you know what, 2016, let's shake it up a little bit. Let's put a Clinton in the White House. What a shake-up. Maybe it'd be Clinton versus Bush again. Get Jeb going. Wow, that'd be fantastic. But a lot of these ruling families that think they're better than everybody else, they don't think in a short game. They're not playing checkers, they're playing chess. They're thinking decades and decades and decades and decades in advance. So maybe this is part of a longer strategy to get Iran involved, to provoke an attack on Israel so that Iran can be wiped off the face of the map. And it's just, I'm just so tired of the games, the parlor games, Blake. I'm so tired of the lies and the corruption. If there's really an important reason to get rid of... Now, Iran is a different story with nuclear capabilities, with the threats that they've made. That's a little bit different. But if that's what the goal is, go for it. And in the meantime, can you keep the Muslim Brotherhood and any religious fanatic away from the control switch? Anyone in this country, in any other country, keep the fanatics away from the control switches, please. Because when your web of lies is so convoluted, you can't even connect the dots anymore. I mean, who's fighting who? The Mujahideen, Al-Qaeda, working with Saddam Hussein, and now you're killing Saddam Hussein. And it's just, you can't even keep track of any of this stuff anymore, Blake. And of course the American people were getting fed up. No, we're past fed up. We are fed up. Because we've been fed so much BS, we have nowhere left to put it except throw it up. And we're ready to throw up on this stuff. We're not buying what they're selling us.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're in trouble. The economy's collapsing, and they have no answers for anything. And people are right. They're not buying the BS anymore. They've lost all their faith in the media. And with all of these, like you said with Snowden, and it's just one scandal after another. And at some point, one of these is gonna we could take down Obama. It's like you're talking about Nixon. Well, it took 22 months to take Nixon down. But we're talking about some serious criminal activity that's been going on for a long time in our good name, and these awful military-industrial complex and the foreign policy that they've put on that Eisenhower warned us about. Yeah, speaking of going back to 1953 and the CIA overthrow of Mossadegh. And so we can't keep this up forever. I mean, this is probably the end of the American empire. And we've become corrupt, and we can rebuild this. I mean, that's the good news, is that once this pendulum does swing, we can start going after this criminal enterprise in Washington, this culture, this corruption culture that we've allowed to fester, and it just can't keep continuing, or there really is no future here. So. So anyway, but I mean, like I said, there's good news and bad news, but so hopefully, well, I don't even know what else to say.
Well, here's what we'll say on this point. We'll let you bounce out of here. We're gonna play out Eisenhower warning of the military-industrial complex here. It's from 1961. It's 2.5 minutes long. Quick reminder, if you're not following Blake, he's at Eccentric99. Check out his homepage, eccentricperspective.com, every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. He can also be heard on freedomizerradio.com from noon to 1:30 p.m. Pacific. My name is Brian Engelman. This is Agree to Disagree here on the TNAM Radio Network here at thenewamericanmedia.com. Do us a favor, subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Follow us on Twitter at American_media_search. The New American Media with spaces on Facebook, and like our page and check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. Here is President Eisenhower warning us of the military-industrial complex. Blake, thank you so much for joining us today. I'll keep you online in case you want to hear this one. And let's just listen in Eisenhower's own words what he was warning us against, and tell me if you think it might be close to paying attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
There you have it, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to play you out with something equally relevant regarding 1984, George Orwell, the military-industrial complex, why we are in never-ending perpetual warfare everywhere across the globe, while uber elites just sit back, taste their cognac, and play a game of Risk with our money, with our lives. Thanks for listening. I'm Brian Engelman, special guest Blake, the eccentric Walley. Thanks for joining us on the program. We'll be back in just a second. We're going to talk some sports to kind of lighten the mood for just a moment.
You are listening to the New American Media.
Welcome back, netizens, to this newest edition in Juice Media series of rap news journalism with me, Robert Foster. This evening we're actively delving in depth to facts which affect all of us who dwell on this internet, and we've got to give a special welcome to all the ladies and agents from the NSA, ASIO, MI5. Glad you're listening in, because today's show is all about surveillance and how it's spreading from the streets into our modems. As we speak, laws are being tacitly written in to implement ways of controlling the expanse of this internet to keep us safe, we're told. But from whom? And will this place ever be the same if these plans go through? To find out, we connect with our first guest to comment on the matter. We're live at the Panopticon with General Baxter. General, son, good to have you back again with us. Explain why the state is spying on us.
My fellow Oceanians, as you know, we've always been at war with Eurasia. Or is it East Asia? Either way, it's war and we need division to wage it. But now the proles are connecting online, bypassing these illusory divisions of race, religion, and nationality.
Sounds grand to me.
It's a catastrophe. Centuries of hard work are being undone, profits are vanishing, and it's due to the internet. It's empowering humanity. We need to get this snafu under control rapidly.
How?
Behold the latest weapon in the war of terror. Our greatest invention since 9/11. Guaranteed to keep us free and safe forever. I give you the surveillance state, ladies and generals. Our secret wires log your key style. Monitor every single number on your speed dial. Rewind straight to your position with facial recognition and pinpoint you within 0.03 of a mile. We've put eyes everywhere without consulting you, keeping you safe whether or not you want us to. Soon there'll be no freedoms left for threatening. Then we'll have won the war. Take that, terrorism.
Brilliant. Thank you, General. We now interview our resident guru, Terrence Moonseed, for a different view.
Greetings.
How does this situation look?
I have one word for you, Robert. Double plus on good. The world populace of 7.4 billion are all headed in the direction of Orwellian totalitarian oblivion. My voice is hoarse, yelling about stellar winds, cold chilling them and trap wire weaving through the world wide web we all dwelling in. Face it, the all-seeing eyes in all of our Facebooks like a virus, and in these iPhones with Siri, or should I say I.R.S. Next in line is RFID devices and mind chips triggered by chemtrails the plague spray the sky with. This time it's too far. Check out the base they're building in Utah, where they'll be storing all your data for over a century. It's FUBAR, and under the outback is an entire tunnel of wires, an echelon base called Pine Gap to hijack our mother Gaia.
Hey, maybe your mother's gayer.
Boo-hoo. Why didn't you just kill yourself like most of your troops do?
That's it. Now you're on the cast iron list.
Hang on, General. Why weren't we informed about this?
Sorry we didn't tell you about our grand plan before. It was meant to be a surprise, under wraps in a store. But some spoil sports had to go and ruin it for all by blowing whistles in spite of the damn law.
Bill, Benny, and Thomas Drake are trailblazers for leaking these tactics.
Hey, civil liberty activists, this is all legal. Anything we do now actually is.
How did...
You can't question my authority thanks to this.
And that shit's global, people. In Australia, it's now legal for the government to store all SMSs, searches, and emails. Australians, it's taking place under your nose. Unless you wake up, all your data are belong to ASIO.
Come on, everyone knows. You can trust the government now. If you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about.
That might be the case with things that are happening now, because most people agree with most of the laws that are being handed down. But once the Illuminati reveal their agenda for you, this surveillance will enforce laws you no longer consent to. But by then it'll be too late to protest too, and anything you've ever said, typed, or browsed can or will be used against you.
I'm confused. So what should we do then?
What should we do? Nothing. This is all an illusion. It's just a ride, a delusion, the Matrix, the Maya deceiving us.
Oh, you hippies really make our job so much easier.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're picking up a signal from beyond the space-time continuum. Quick, switch on the juice channeling portal. Wait, is that George Orwell?
Good day to you.
Wow, what do we owe this honor to?
I tried to warn you noobs, but I see you are actually fools, or else you thought this was an instruction manual.
Yes, so can you advise us? What would you have us do?
An open and universal internet is the most effective tool you have to address the issues that afflict the world at hand. Therefore, protecting it is the most essential task that stands before your generation.
I think I understand.
Hush, man. You must not lose the internet. Heed this mantra. Who controls the internet controls the data. And who controls the data controls the future.
We're losing warn you, I leave you with a tool to use. An onion? Don't be simple, Robert. This is but a simile. It stands for Tor. Tor? Google it. It's for anonymity. This onion router open network helps considerably against tyranny, but its abilities only work if all you use it consistently. And even if you don't use it, run it so its force swells. Thanks, Mr. Orwell. From now on, call me George Torwell. If we'd had such tools when I wrote this, well, it would have been so much simpler to tell Big Brother to go himself. The mother sucking piece of shit. Thanks, George Torwell, for manifesting direct from this memory hole of history to impress on us these messages. We're told we need safety, which is precious, yes, but can a society that can enforce all its laws ever progress? Hindsight shows that many figures guilty of thought crime turned out to be luminaries and heroes before their time. But if a surveillance state had reigned then in this form and design, just think of all the progress we may have all been denied. Could lobbies for women's or gay rights have appeared and thrived? Would revolutionary ideals have materialized? Would science have pioneered or even survived if every word had been monitored by thought police and spies? Big Brother brings chilling effects, freezing our collective hopes. He doesn't protect our safety, but protects the status quo and threatens this internet, the one channel yet uncontrolled, whose openness we are now called upon to effect and uphold.
If you're tired of the other stuff, take a look at thenewamericanmedia.com.